Hello and welcome to your therapeutic yoga session for October, which is going to be around this idea of really filling our stores ready for the darker months ahead. So when you're ready, let's hop on the mat. Okay, so as I said, this particular session is going to be about really looking to fill our stores for winter, connecting to our bodies and our needs. And if you're brand new to my channel and this space, I'm Nicola, I'm a yoga teacher and a yoga therapist, and I create content for sensitive and neurodivergent folk that are looking to feel calm and connected through things like therapeutic yoga, therapy, mindfulness, and seasonal self-care. So that's what this video is about. And actually, we're going to start standing in this month's session. There's nothing extra special that you need unless you want to have a few bits and pieces, maybe a little cushion handy, because we will be practicing some more restorative shapes later on. Okay, so as I say, we're going to start standing and just allowing your feet to be around hip width apart. You might, like me, just want to have a little rock backwards and forwards so that you can find that kind of connection between your feet and the ground. And once you're there, just finding center. You're welcome to roll the shoulders down and back and then just let yourself stand. If feeling still is very uncomfortable for you, you are welcome to keep some movement going in your body. But if it's possible, just draw that attention in just for a moment. Let's take a big breath in together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Taking a couple more just like that. And each time you take these breaths, just allowing the awareness to sink into the body. Allow your body to sink into the ground at the same time. Welcoming yourself back in. And now for a moment, cast your awareness around the body, just to notice. Maybe your mind gets pulled in a particular direction, a niggle or an ache or a feeling. Is it possible just to notice it without getting caught up in the story, just accepting what's here today? And maybe we'll be able to do something about it in this session and maybe not. But for now, let's just notice. Notice how you're feeling in your physical body. Any sensations, tensions. And maybe anything in the mind space, maybe there's certain thoughts that are dominating or feelings. And just before we begin to move, just asking yourself a simple question, asking the body, asking the mind, asking the emotional self, your deeper self, where do I feel depleted, or where do I feel the need to fill the stores? Where needs some nourishment? Where needs some restoration or replenishment? And then when you're ready, gently blink open the eyes, inviting any movement that feels it needs to happen. And just take whatever messages you got from that mini practice into this movement, into our therapeutic yoga, or it might be something that you take off the mat afterwards. Okay, so feet are hip width apart, rooting down through the heels, anchoring the outer edges of the feet. Toes are spread and anchored down, and there's a lift up through the front of the body and then anchoring down the back of the body. And we'll lift the arms up towards the ceiling, breathing in. And then floating them down to breathe out. Taking this another couple of times. Just with your breath, imagining the inhale lifts the arms and imagining the exhale allows them to float down. Slowing the breath And the next time you inhale, take the arms all the way up overhead. Spread the fingers, and then as you exhale, we'll twist towards the right. Reach the right arm back. I'm going to step forwards. And the left arm forwards, maybe gazing over the back arm of the sun. And then as you breathe in, reach the arms back towards the ceiling or the sky. And then we'll twist the opposite side. So left arm reaches back, right arms forwards. And take that another time with once each side. And then on the next inhale, we'll come back to center and float the arms back down. Again, take another roll of the shoulders. And then we'll come and interlace the fingers behind the head. We'll open up the elbows nice and wide, lift the chest, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, I'll turn to the side so you can see, we're going to close up, bring the elbows to touch. Well, not to touch. You might be able to touch them, but I certainly can't. But towards each other. And then we'll repeat, breathing in to open. And all the while, there's a little soft bending through the knees, so I feel nice and anchored. You might be, I'm actually wider than hip width for this. Let's take a couple more. The moment that the weather starts to get cooler, quite often, because we're not used to it, I guess, kind of hunch up around the shoulders and the chest as we start to put on more layers. We're at that funny time, certainly where I am, where it's warm 1 minute and then cold the next. So that can be quite discombobulating. So that there might be some tension in around the neck and the chest, the shoulders. So this is a really nice way to release. Next time you exhale, you might just pause there with a little bit of gentle pressure on the back of the head, not too much. And I like to gently kind of look from left to right to explore that sensation. And then we'll open out again. At this time, we'll take the right hand and take it all the way over, maybe to the elbow on the left-hand side. Maybe not, maybe it touch onto the head, doesn't matter. But we're not using our hands to pull or create any tension here. It's just somewhere to put it. And then we're going to kind of teapot towards the right so that we get this stretch down the left-hand side. I've got a real little tickle on my nose today. Sorry about that. And pause there. As we've opened up through this left-hand side, breathe into this side of the rib cage. Let it expand. And then we'll come all the way back up, switch sides, so right hand on the back of the head, left hand either on the elbow, or it could be on the side of the head, like I say. Lifting up and bending to the left, pausing there, and just again allowing the breath to move into the right side of the ribs. Notice if there's a tendency to roll forward, see if you can keep that out. Okay, coming all the way back. And again, just releasing the arms, rolling the shoulders. And then feet are back to hip width apart. We'll breathe in, reach for the ceiling or the sky. Breathing out, fold forwards. Keep the knees as bent as you need to as you come all the way down. Let the head hang. And then as you breathe in, bring the hands to the knees, lift up halfway. I'll turn to the side so you can see. So you're making like a bit of a table with your back. And then breathing out, we'll fold forwards again, rounding the spine. Breathing in, we'll take the arms through centre up towards the sky. And then breathing out, plant the palms together. Let's take that little flow once again, breathing in. Reach for the ceiling, breathing out, fold forwards. Hands to knees, lift halfway, big breath in. And breathing out, folding back down. And this time, pause here. Let the arms dangle, let the head dangle. If you get vertigo in this kind of shape or it doesn't feel comfortable, just don't come so far down. Keep the head a bit more upright. Then you might walk the hands over to the left and then over to the right, just feeling into the two sides of the body. Which part needs what? We're all usually a little bit wonky. One side's usually tighter than the other. And then take a big breath in, fill your belly, fill the back, and then we'll slowly, slowly, slowly roll up the spine. Give the shoulders a good old roll until you get to the top. Nice. Okay, so we'll step to the top of our mat, and if you're like me, you need to pull your leggings up. We'll bring the hands onto the waist and just get that nice kind of anchored posture. So you want to feel even through the feet to begin with, and nice and long through the spine. Take a slow breath in and a steady breath out as you gaze off into the distance. And then shift the weight onto the left leg slightly as you step quite long back through the right leg. So you're coming into, and planting the foot. So you're coming into like a warrior one shape for those that know what I'm talking about. These are the legs. The chest is facing the front of your mat. Okay. So we're going to spend some time really thinking about pressing down and rooting down through the feet. So even though we've got the feet in slightly weird or different positions, one's off on a bit of a squiff, one's pointing off to the top of the mat, we can still anchor down through the heels, through the outer edges of the feet, and that base of the big toe, the ball of the foot, kind of that zone. And there's still a little bit of drawing up through the arches, the inner arches. We'll face the top of the mat, like I say. Once you feel anchored through the feet, check that this leg is on, and if the glute's not working, then it's probably not as active as it could be. We'll just make sure that leg is on, and we'll check that this knee is bent in the front leg. From this place, if you want to, and you don't have to, we can take the arms towards the sky, maybe cactus the arms to open through the chest a little bit more. And then we'll take a couple of breaths here, breathing into all that space that we're creating. And be aware in this shape of the sitting bones. If you've got an extra bendy back like me, you might think about just ever so slightly drawing the lower belly in and sending the sitting bones more downwards. They're not completely downwards, but not so you're kind of sticking your butt completely out. Okay. 2 more breaths, filling the belly, filling the ribs, filling the chest. And then when you're ready, we'll sweep the arms all the way down. And for a really anchored place in both feet, we'll hinge the body forwards. Plant the hands either on the mat, or if you've got yoga bricks, you can plant them down there. Pivot on the back foot and step it to the top of the mat. So we're back in that forward fold. Let it all go. Take a big breath in. And a slow breath out. And as you breathe out, roll up through the spine until you get to the top. And you know, in this month, October, it's a really good time to slow down any movement practice, really, which is what we're doing here. Let's shift the weight now onto the right leg, and as we do so, steadily start to step back through the left foot, plant it so we're in warrior legs on this side. And just spend a moment, like we did on the other side, anchoring through the heels, outer edge of the feet, lift through the inner arches, planted through the base of the big toe. Checking that knee over the ankle and the back leg is active. Chest is facing the front of the mat. Find your variation of your arms. Breathe. Expansive breaths into all those little nooks and crannies that hold tension, because we all have those places in our bodies. Thinking about those sitting bones, just pointing a little bit more downwards, drawing the lower belly slightly in so we can lift the spine. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then on the exhale, we're going to do the same thing really slowly from an anchored place through the feet. We'll send our body forwards. Keep pressing down through both feet, plant the hands, pivot on the back foot, and this time we're going to step back to a downward facing dog. Now this isn't for everybody. If it's not for you, you're welcome to lower the knees and come to your all fours shape. If you're okay in dog as we're here, you could take a little paddle through the feet and then just pause to really root back through the sitting bones towards the back wall. The heels do not need to be down. It's a complete myth. If they are down, that's great. If they're not, that's also great. I like to have a soft bend in through my knees so that I'm not rounding in my back. Let's take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. It's allowing our body to have a really good stretch in this shape. Take another breath. And then this time as you exhale, we'll slowly lower the knees down to the mat. And find all fours if we're not already there. From all fours, you might want to close the eyes for this and tune into your spine. As you breathe in, dip the belly, lift the tail, shine heart forwards for cow pose. Breathing out to round the back. Really tuck the tail under and press into your hands, chin towards the chest. And then we'll repeat. Breathing in for cow. And breathing in to find that cat pose. Taking a couple more. And then coming to your all fours when you're ready. We're going to bring right hand into the centre, and then we'll thread the left hand underneath on that arm and coming down onto the side of the shoulder and onto the side of the head. If this feels too much, you can plant a cushion or a block underneath the head and then walk in the fingertips of trying to think what hand it is, the right hand up towards the top of the mat, or some people like to wrap it around the back. And then pausing here to breathe again into all those nooks and crannies. My digestive system now is certainly making some noise, and that's one of the purposes for these twists and these movements that I've selected in this practice, is to keep things happy in the tummy. Last breath here. And then sliding that right hand down to press into it and unravel. I'm going to sit back on the heels and just giving those shoulders a little bit of a roll. If you've had a cold, and I have had a cold, movements like this can really kind of shift any leftover stuff. So if you find yourself coughing, it's perfectly normal. Okay, other side. Left hand comes into the centre of the mat. We'll thread right arm under and through, and to bring the shoulder and the face down to the side of the mat. And then left fingertips could go up to the top of the mat or lower back. Pause here again to breathe into all those little spaces. And then when you're ready, sliding that hand down, pressing in to it to lift up, coming onto the heels, and rolling those shoulders back. Okay. So we're gonna kind of end with a restorative shape, which is called legs up the wall. There is a Sanskrit name for it, and I can't remember the pronunciation. It's something like that. I must look that up. Okay, so I'm going to move my little mat here. To come to legs up the wall, you obviously need a wall. If you haven't got a wall near you, you could use the edge of a bed, the edge of the sofa, or you could lift your legs up onto a couple of stacks of pillows if that feels easier. But if you have got a wall, you're going to come and sit side on, really close. Bring your hands behind you and then come down onto the forearms and start to swing the legs up the wall. It's not very graceful, but it does the job. And you want to get your bum as close to the wall as you can. So you might need to caterpillar a little bit along the floor. Also going to come to the sides. We're going to be here for around 3 minutes. And this just gives the legs a complete break. You're welcome to close the eyes. And once you're in it, just taking a long breath in through the nose and a sigh out through the mouth. And then as you settle in, just really trying to let go of any of those areas of the body that like to hold on. So maybe the forehead, jaw, the shoulders. And this isn't completely passive. There is a certain level of holding so that the legs don't collapse. But just trying to make as much use of the support of the wall or whatever it is that you've got your legs up against as you possibly can. Softening through the belly. And really just allowing yourself to take up this support now. So very, very gently, just coming back into your body if you've drifted off, and maybe just taking a deeper breath before you start to bring the knees in towards the chest. You might need to wiggle a little bit away from the wall to do that. And we want to really transition quite mindfully, steadily. So we'll start by rolling to one side and really carefully walking yourself to a place where you can come and lie down on the back with as much, or as little rather, disruption as possible, so that you can come and now lie flat. Finding Shavasana, corpse pose. And then once you get there, take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. We're letting it all go. And these pauses at the end of a yoga practice are where everything gets integrated, all the effects of the practice. It also gives us a chance to just press pause. So if it's possible, let go of the body and allow that to happen. And if not, know that it's okay today. It's always okay to show up on your mat exactly as you are. When you're ready, let's start to take a deeper breath in and a steady breath out. And just bringing one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest, and just taking a moment to remind yourself of what you noticed about the body at the very beginning of the practice. And you might ask again, just to double check, what needs restoring, what needs filling ready for the months ahead, the darker months ahead. Where am I depleted? Where do I need some care and attention? And in your own time, we'll transition back up to a seated position of your choice, or you're welcome to stay as you are. And very, very slowly blinking open the eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I encourage you, anything that you noticed about your body or anything that came up for you in general, if you can, make some action towards tending to that need, then I'm sure your body will be very grateful. And if you really enjoyed this video, I would really, really appreciate it if you would like the video, maybe share it with a friend who would enjoy it, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you enjoy this idea of living seasonally, I would also welcome you to come and join me over in my membership space, Sensitive Soul Space, which will be linked below. Okay, Take care for now, and I'll see you on the next one.